You're standing at the edge of a forest. It's dusk. The light is nearly gone. Somewhere in those trees, something is watching. You can't see it, you can't hear it, but you feel it. And in that moment, you think the same thing every human thinks. I would not survive out there. No claws, no fangs, no fur, no real speed. Just soft skin and wishful thinking. You imagine a wolf smelling you from a kilometer away. A bear, twice your weight, watching from behind a tree. A mountain lion crouched in the shadows, calculating. And you assume they see what you see. A slow, soft, defenseless primate. Easy prey. But here's the thing. That assumption is completely wrong. Not a little wrong. Not slightly off. Catastrophically, scientifically, measurably wrong. Because researchers have now proven that across dozens of species, wolves, bears, mountain lions, deer, raccoons, even animals that have never been hunted by a human in their entire lives, the most terrifying thing that walks this earth is you. This is not motivational. This is not a metaphor. This is what the data says. And the last part of this video is going to change how you think about your own species forever. Stay until the end, because the final piece is the strangest part of all. Let's start with the story we tell ourselves. The comfortable one. Humans are the weak animal. You know the comparisons. A grizzly bear can run at 35 miles an hour. A chimpanzee is 5 times stronger than an adult human. A lion can see in near total darkness. A wolf can smell you before you can hear it. And a house cat or a scaled to the size of a lion would kill you in under a minute. We have none of the hardware. Our claws are decorative. Our teeth are built for salad. Our reflexes are laughably slow next to almost any wild predator. Our skin tears on a thorn bush. So for most of human history, we told ourselves a comforting story about how we survived anyway. We were the clever ape, the lucky one, the one that got just smart enough, just in time. Tools, fire, coordinated hunting, spears before the saber-tooth got us. And that story feels true. It feels earned. It feels like us. Because when you stand at the edge of that dark forest, your body still knows something. The goosebumps, the held breath, the feeling of being watched. Something deep in you still remembers being the prey. But here's what's fascinating. The animals never agreed with that story. In 2017, a wildlife ecologist named Justine Smith set up hidden audio speakers in the Santa Cruz Mountains in California. Over weeks, she played different sounds through those speakers and watched what happened. She played the growl of a mountain lion, an apex predator, one of the most feared hunters in North America. She played the sounds of a bear, an animal that can kill a full-grown elk in seconds. She played barking dogs. And then she played something unexpected. Human voices. Normal conversation, just 2 people talking, not screaming, not threatening, just a casual chat. And the mountain lions ran. Not because of the lion, not because of the bear, because of the human conversation. They fled the sound of 2 people chatting faster, farther, and for longer than they fled any natural predator sound they had ever heard. A mountain lion that can take down a full-grown elk heard 2 humans talking and decided to leave immediately. Let that land for a moment. But maybe mountain lions are just cautious. Maybe that's one species, one place, one study. So let's go much bigger. Researchers Liana Zanette and Michael Clinchy at Western University in Canada spent years studying what they call the landscape of fear. This is the invisible psychological map that prey animals carry in their minds to stay alive. They know which direction the wolves come from, they know which clearing is open and exposed, they know which stream bank gives them cover. The landscape of fear is the hidden architecture of survival for almost every animal on Earth. And Zanette and Clinchy tested something remarkable. They asked what the most terrifying thing in the world sounds like, from an animal's perspective. They played recordings of lions, wolves, bears, dogs, and then they played humans. Across raccoons, deer, elk, and multiple other species, the fear response to human sounds was more intense than to any natural predator they tested. Raccoons fled human voices at twice the rate they fled wolf sounds. Deer abandoned feeding grounds faster for a human voice than for a bear. Animals showed immediate full-body alarm at the sound of a person, elevated heart rate, muscle tension, total cessation of feeding, before a single threat was visible. And here's the part that stopped scientists cold. Even animals in completely protected areas, animals that had never been hunted, animals living inside nature reserves where no human had ever fired a gun in their lifetime, they still ran. The fear of humans didn't require experience. It didn't require a memory of danger. It was already there, in the wiring, in the instinct, preloaded before birth, so why? Why would a mountain lion flee a creature it could physically destroy? Why would an animal that has never seen a gun run from the sound of a human voice? The answer came from a study that rewrote how scientists think about predators. In 2016, researcher Chris Darramont at the University of Victoria led a team that analyzed human hunting behavior against every other predator on Earth. They crunched numbers across hundreds of species and decades of data, and what they found created a new category. Natural predators, lions, wolves, sharks, follow a pattern that evolution built them for over millions of years. They target the vulnerable, the old, the sick, the young, the injured. They are nature's quality control. Because targeting the strongest, healthiest adult is expensive and risky. Why risk injury fighting a prime animal when there are easier options? Humans do the opposite. We target adults at their prime, the biggest, the strongest, the most reproductively valuable, and we kill them at a rate 9 times higher than any other predator on Earth. 9 times. Not 9% more deadly. 9 times more deadly. Darramont named it. He called us the super predator, not the top predator, the super predator. A category above the existing category. A thing so far beyond the normal rules of predation that the existing language of science couldn't contain it. Imagine you are a deer. You've lived in this forest your entire life. You know the wolves, you know where they come from, how they move, what a distant howl at 2 in the morning means for your safety. Wolf pressure is ancient. Your species has lived with wolves for tens of thousands of years. Your reflexes are calibrated for it. And then something new enters the forest. It moves slowly. It has no visible weapons. It doesn't stalk or rush you. It smells like nothing evolution ever prepared you for. And then the herd starts changing. Not the old ones disappearing. Not the limping ones. The big ones. The healthy ones. The fastest, strongest adults gone. At a rate no predator in your species' entire history has ever inflicted. Your nervous system does exactly what it was built to do. It writes a new rule. Whatever that slow, quiet, strange-smelling thing is, it is the most dangerous entity that has ever walked into this world. Do not approach it. Do not ignore it. Run. And that rule doesn't stay with just you. It gets encoded. Not in language, not in conscious memory, in reflex, in biology, in the electrical impulse that fires before thought even begins. Passed to every generation that follows. And here's where it gets even stranger. Animals don't just run from us, they restructure their entire lives around us. Mountain lions in North America, tracked over years of GPS data, shifted almost entirely to nighttime movement in areas with human activity. Not because mountain lions are naturally nocturnal, but because humans are a daytime threat. The lions surrendered their prime hunting hours to avoid us. Wolves in Europe compress their territory. They avoid open ground. They vocalize less when humans are nearby. They operate in the margins and the shadows, always calculating the distance between themselves and the nearest person. And then there are the elephants. In parts of Africa, elephants have learned to distinguish between different groups of humans by smell alone, not just human versus not human, but which specific group of humans poses a threat and which does not. They pass this knowledge between generations. An elder elephant teaches the herd which scent means danger, based on experiences that happened before the young ones were born. That is not simple animal instinct, that is teaching. That is the transmission of survival knowledge across time, and it is built entirely around one species: you. So here's the question worth sitting with. If animals are this afraid of us, if the entire wild world has quietly reorganized itself around our existence, why don't we know this? Why does the dark edge of a forest still make your skin prickle? Why do you still feel like the vulnerable one? Here is what I think happened. We removed ourselves. We built walls between us and the wild. We made fire a button. We put our food in plastic. We put the last predators behind glass in zoos and called it progress. We created a world so insulated that the ancient predator inside us went quiet. We forgot. But the animals didn't forget. They kept the memory that we erased. The mountain lion still flees at the sound of your voice. The wolves still compress their entire world to stay out of yours. The deer still reads your scent and makes a decision older than civilization. They remember what you are, even when you've completely forgotten. Here is the full picture. For 200,000 years, humans walked into every ecosystem on Earth and left fear behind us. Not because we were the biggest or the fastest or the most physically powerful, but because we were the most lethally effective thing nature had ever produced. We reshaped the landscape of fear for every species on every continent. We didn't just occupy a niche in the food chain, we created a niche above the chain. And the wild world quietly rebuilt itself around the fact that we exist. Every animal alive today carries some trace of that reckoning. The shape of their days, the hours they choose to feed, the distances they keep, the paths they don't take, all of it quietly engineered around you. And the truly strange part, the part that should sit with you long after this video ends, is that we are the only species in this entire story that forgot what happened. The deer didn't forget, the mountain lion didn't forget, the elephants didn't forget, we did. We built a world so comfortable, so padded, so separated from the wild, that we lost the memory of what we are. The next time you stand at the edge of that dark forest and feel small, remember this. You are standing in an ecosystem that has spent thousands of generations learning to fear your footsteps. The forest didn't build its terror of you overnight. It took 200,000 years. And somewhere out there, in the trees beyond the light, something with better senses than you has already heard you coming, and already decided to move away. They got it right. We just forgot who we are.